Down in Florida, police have arrested an 18-year-old teenager, Christian Meyer, on charges of felony criminal mischief. What did he do? He did donuts on a pride mural that was painted into the middle of the road. That's what he did. And now this kid is being charged with a felony at age 18 for putting some skid marks onto a giant pride symbol that is for some reason painted into the middle of the road. Okay. Pride Month goes on. It's July 2nd. Pride Month continues. This kid made a huge mistake. This kid, I think we can all acknowledge this kid made a huge mistake. Had this kid decided to get a really big American flag and then put it in the middle of the street and drive all over it and then set it on fire, potentially endangering the buildings around him, I know it'd be like arson and everything. But if he had done that to an American flag, the old red, white, and blue, not only would he not have been arrested and charged with a felony, he would be hailed as a hero and probably given some awards. He would, at the very least, be lauded on cable news and left-wing podcasts. But the mistake he made was, instead of just burning and desecrating the American flag in the middle of the street, even with fire, he decided to drive his car over the liberal symbol that had been painted into the middle of the road. And that's a big no-no. You can't do that. You have to worship the rainbow flag, which stands for pride, pride, the queen of all vice and the deadliest of the 7 deadly sins, and which further signifies weird sex stuff. You have to worship weird and aberrant sexual behavior, or else you're going to be charged with a felony in the United States at the age of 18 for driving your car in the road. I understand that what he did could potentially be construed as some kind of crime. I guess it's a crime to do donuts. I didn't think it was a felony. It seems like it's a little bit trumped up, those charges. But sure, I guess doing donuts in the middle of the road is probably not totally legal. So sure, okay, I guess he did something wrong. This kid should receive a full and immediate pardon. And happily, this is Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis, who's great on these issues. Let's not forget, Governor DeSantis, a national leader on issues such as this. Governor DeSantis, I believe, could just pardon this kid, and he should. It's not to say that now people can just do donuts wherever they want in the road. They can't, and we don't want to establish that principle. We don't want people driving like maniacs and doing donuts and everything. But the pardon power exists for a reason. And the punishment that is being inflicted on this young man is obviously excessive. The political protest that this kid was making is not only the sort of thing that, were he protesting something like the American flag, the liberals would hail as the essence of the First Amendment and his rights to peacefully protest, but he's actually protesting something worth protesting. And he's actually standing up for something that's good and worth standing up for, namely proper sexual ethics and normal behaviors and the traditional American way of life. And he's opposing a movement that seeks to and sexually little children by scandalizing them and convincing them that they're the opposite sex and putting them into all sorts of bad behaviors and habits, and very likely shortening their lives, even when you just statistically kind of look at how those stories turn out when people go down the LGBT LMNOP rabbit hole. This kid's standing up for something good, and the pardon power exists for a reason. But the pardon power is not contrary to justice. It is a perfection of justice, because we recognize that there is an important role in society for justice, but there's also an important role for mercy, and there's an important role for the dead letter of the law lying on paper, and there's an important role for the thumatic and spirited executive to enforce and apply those laws, as well as a role for the judiciary and the legislature, which I guess is the broad topic today, since we're talking about presidential immunity and the separation of powers and co-equal branches of government. There's so much more to say. First, though, go to AmericanFinancing.net. Inflation is through the roof. Many Americans have no other choice but to put these expenses on credit cards, which obviously have very high interest rates. Instead of panicking, call American Financing today. If you are a homeowner, they're helping thousands of people in the same situation pay off that debt and break free from financial stress. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving homeowners an average of $854 a month. That's a big relief. Call today. You may delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, 866-721-3300. That is 866-721-3300. Or if you are more digitally and virtually inclined, you can go to AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org, APR for rates in the 5 starting at 6.799% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 866-721-3300 for details about credit cards and terms. This would be a great opportunity for the governor of Florida to say, hey, you're good. Full pardon, you're good. This kid deserves it. Now, speaking of kids, there's a story that's near and dear to the hearts of many of us at the Daily Wire, especially right now. And that would be the foster system. You know, Daily Wire has partnered up with Angel Studios for this movie Sound of Hope, which you can get your tickets for this 4th of July. Great opportunity to go see it. You can go to angel.com/Michael for it. Biden's Health and Human Services Department has come out and said that foster kids can only go to families that are willing to scandalize and traumatize the children. Because Biden's HHS has said that foster kids can only go to families who are on board with the LGBT LMNOP nonsense. And they can only go to families that believe in and that will call the kids by the wrong pronouns. A little young man is confused and thinks he's a woman, that the parents have to pretend that he's a woman and maybe even put him on the path to doing the transition. Really, really awful stuff. Which means that what Biden is saying is, if you're a Christian, you can't adopt foster kids. If you're a Christian who believes in anything even resembling Christian orthodoxy, certainly if you're a Catholic, if you're Eastern Orthodox, if you adhere to any kind of more traditional Protestant denominations, you can't adopt out of the foster system anymore. Jews, Orthodox Jews, sorry, you're out of luck. Muslims who take their religion seriously, you're probably out of luck too. Only radical leftists willing to traumatize and scandalize kids, they're the only ones who can adopt out of the foster system. Now, this rule is not scheduled to take effect until 2026. DW just did a poll on this. You'll be shocked to hear most people don't agree with this rule. They think it's really bad. This would be one of the reasons I think that Democrats and Biden are having such a hard time in this election cycle. But a majority of American voters believe the foster care system is in significant need of reform. Over 2/3 of American voters believe it is a benefit for a foster child to be adopted by a faith-based family. Not only is it not a negative, it's actually a great positive. It's, the family that prays together stays together. It's become cliche, but it's become cliche because it's true. Majority of Americans believe it is more beneficial for a foster child to be adopted by a family that believes in traditional gender norms. Go down the list. It's all the sort of stuff you would expect. But there's a major, major attack on that right now. And that is why the timing of Sound of Hope is actually rather providential, I suppose. So if you want to go see the movie, go check it out, angel.com/Michael, Michael. And let's hope that we get a new president. Let's hope and work toward a new president coming about long before that HHS rule is to come into effect. Because on the list of the 300 things that Trump is going to have to do on day one, that might have to be on the list. There's going to be a lot of other stuff, but that one's going to have to be there too. There's a lot of madness to undo from even just these 3 years of a Biden presidency. That was a really insightful clip. And if you want more of them, you have to ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.